of the respect thereon or admonition by the National Assembly, and if the offender is a member of the National Assembly, suspension or expulsion from the National Assembly. This is a gentle reminder to both the members and the witnesses before us that this provision for the content of the National Assembly is in place, and the committee, if at any time feel it necessary to apply it, may do so. Honorable members, it's also important we remind ourselves about section 1193. Any answer by a person to a question put by the National Assembly shall not be admissible evidence against him or her in any civil or criminal proceedings after the National Assembly, or other the proceeding for the pre-jury court under the criminal law. So that's also a gentle reminder, I think, specifically for the witnesses. On that note, honorable members, before us we have the Commissioner General. Yes. Yeah, I not seen him. Your next camera. And the team. Yes. We welcome you once more to this August meeting as stated in the introduction. That is the sole purpose of the meeting. We are now going to the meeting proper, and in doing that, we've identified a lead person who will be leading us in the question, and then while the question, the floor will be given to you to give response or whoever you want to delegate to. Then after that question, there will be supplementary questions surrounding the answer given from him or from any other member. That is the mode of operation that we want to take. Now I can now invite Honorable Fofana to lead us in the question.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. With regards to the Commissioner General of GRA, esteemed here in present, I will go into the questions proper, but first we apologize for starting late. So, on behalf of the committee and the House Chair, sorry for that. Mr. Nabo, what is the role of GRA at the Gam Petroleum Dam?
Good afternoon to the two co-chairs and the members of the high table and honorable members here, subjects, experts, the audits, and all the other high-level people that are here. I'm here with my team, as we have already explained. We got a summon that we should be here in relation to the what's currently happening in terms of the inquiries on this petroleum issue happening at the table. Yes, coming back to the questions, you said the role of the GRA at the table. To start with, we have in the Gambia, we have two bonded warehouses. We call them bonded warehouses. This bonded warehouse, one of them is the Gam Petroleum, where exactly this particular case, the fuel was dumped. And the other one is GPS, that is the one that is owned by another private company. So we have two of them, and in each of these stations, we have our staffs that are stationed there. And basically they work with other team. They work with the, for example, those at Gam Petroleum, they work with the Gam Petroleum staffs, program, and other stakeholders that have something to do. But GRA's main concentrations goes on the tax aspect. They are very much, they are concentrating on the products that goes out of the depot, whether they are going on in the country so that they can be assessed properly and paid duty at the right time, or they are going on transit. Because the depot is like a bonded warehouse. When the traders drop fuel there, at that particular time, they don't pay anything. It's like any other bonded warehouse that we have in town. So the only necessary actions takes place when we know exactly whether the fuel is going to consume in the country or it's going on transit. So basically, they are there to look after the taxes of the products. Thank you.
So which means GRA's responsibility and the bonded warehouses is to ensure that tax is paid.
Exactly.
When exactly is tax paid on these products?
Okay, the regime for the petroleum product is different from the other dry products. When I mean here dry product, that's the goods that comes through containers, containerized at the ports or the borders. Some of those goods, when immediately they come in, the regimes will allow them to do the declaration and pay before they enter the market, except if they have special arrangement called direct delivery. But for the petroleum sector, the regimes allow them to take delivery out. That is, if they are going to be consumed in the country. They take the delivery out until around close to the end of the month. Normally, around 25th of the month, we close the delivery and then add it all, and then take the total, and then do the OMCs will do the declaration based on what they have taken out of the depot, and then they will ask to pay on or before end of the month. But normally the cut-off date is around 25th of the month. By 25th, you start the delivery and do the calculation, and then whatever lifting that takes place, that is what you will pay on or before end of the month. We insist that everything must be paid on or before, because I'm sure you all know that we work on targets, and these targets are very dear to our heart, so that every month the target that we have, if you lift a certain number of liters and you are assessed for that, it is a matter of must. If you don't pay, we suspend. Normally, some of them we give them 6 months suspension without direct delivery facility. So, no, to answer your questions, yes, normally payment happens at the end of the month.
So which means they make payments in arrears?
Yes, most of it. Yeah.
Also before the 25th of every month?
Yes.
So I just have one question on this, and you will be flowed with. But how does GRA ensure that the payment of tax by overseas is not only based on self-assessment? Because the way I read, you say the overseas will make a declaration based on how much you collected. So what?
The fuel is different from other products. The way we trade fuel, the fuel prices are controlled by government, and unlike the other products that comes in, where you pay based on the CIA that you submit or the amount indicated that the customs will give you. The price is controlled by government, and within the structure of either diesel or petrol, government will say that this is the price, this particular period, that only OMCs will pay. So now it becomes very simple, because the structure consists of different regimes, and at the end of the day, when you have a certain amount, the quantity that you lift, GRA will know automatically this is your payment, as well as the OMCs that will do the declaration, because they have to do it, because it's self-assessment. We give them the quantity, they do, and even before they bring that SAD, that is single administrative document, before they bring that, we know, because it's given. Like every beginning of every month, there is a committee that sits and determines how much the price of fuel will be for the particular amount that's coming. And that committee, once they determine that, the table is distributed to all members, and everybody knows, including the OMCs, how much they will be charged per liter for that particular amount. And that is why it becomes very easy. Once you know your quantity, you know the amount of duty that is involved.
And how is the tax applied on goods that are on transit?
Gambia is considered as, sometimes we call it a boundary state. We are located in a strategic position. So it only depends on how we manage our own situations here. Simply because we said boundary, because we are close to Senegal, we are close to Mali, we are close to Bissau, we are close to Conakry. So most of the goods that comes here, including petroleum products, they are not consumed in this country. These goods are transited to the third country, and that is why we have a lot of volume here. One, because our turnaround time is very quick, and businesses, they don't want to waste of time. Most of the time when they have their goods, they want to just come over with the documentation and do it and go. So petroleum products inclusive, some of them goes on transit, but they look for their own customers outside. So when they have their customers, they come and say, this quantity I want to take it on transit, they do the documentation, and we allow. And in this case, because it has to go to the transaction, it's not only because you want to go to transit, they will just load you at Gam Petroleum and go. No, you have to do a custom declaration. And in that custom declaration, there is what we call processing fee, a processing fee. This is a documentation that you do, and then you have to pay. Then from there, now we have the technology of the e-tracking. So now, usually before, in the past, some years before we introduced the technology, they will load these trucks after the documentation, and the custom officers that are stationed at the depot escort the trucks up to Pasay, or Boro, or anywhere they want to. But in this day and age, we have passed Nigeria, we have passed the level. Now we have introduced the technology where once you do the documentation, they will attach a device on the trucks, and that device is going to be your escort until the end of the Gambia, and then it will move out. So to answer your question, in short, it's 1.5% of the value, and that's called processing fee, and that is what is charged on all transited goods as far as the petroleum product is concerned.
Thank you. The floor is.
Thank you. Honorable was the first appeal for supplementary question. Remember, only on the first point. Honorable Caesar?
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Councillor General, you've mentioned that there are two depots, Gam Petroleum and owned and private, but that was not mentioned. What is that about private?
I said GPS.
Maybe
GPS.
GPS, yes. Okay. Okay, sir. Yes, let me come. Okay, you also talked about the ONGs are allowed to do the loading and do the business until about 25th or the end of the year, and they will do the declaration end of March, and they will be payment. How do you verify these declarations? That what they are declaring is what exactly
it is like, it goes this way. The depot is controlled by Gam Petroleum. They are in charge of the depot. Now, our consultations comes when the OMCs are given the trucks they load until they come to the gate, and our stamps are there. So every truck that goes there, they will make sure that it's entered under the name of a particular OMC. So that at the end of the day, they know every OMC how much you lifted from the depot. So it is the GRA officers that are there that provide that information to the OMC, if you understand. So that they give them the quantity of diesel, the quantity of petrol. So that they only do is they process the declaration by themselves, because in both domestic taxes and international trade, we operate a regime called self-assessment. That means you are the one who take the product out, you do the assessment in the system. And now, once you do the assessment, at the level of the office, we just look at what we have already given you to confirm that that's what you put on the system. and then it's validated, and then you go on pay.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner, if I understand you, the ONCs, oil marketing companies, if they draw from the depot, taking it in town to their various representation, then they are qualified to pay the taxes. So what about in the case of these two companies, Crit and Ultimate Page? Are they OMCs?
As far as our records are concerned, those two companies are not considered as the OMC.
Okay. You are done?
Yes.
Okay. I want to remind the tax representation within.
Yes.
Yes, I understand. It was probably something. That was different. The Consul General.
Yes.
At the depot, you have a GRA also attached to the depot.
Yes, we have officers, not one officer, we have officers attached to the depot, yes.
And these officers are supposed to report to GRA on what basis?
The structure of GRA is like this. We have 8 departments, and it's headed by the Commissioner General and Deputy Commissioner General. So each department is specialized for the area. For example, the customs and excise they specialize for international trade, which include the domestic taxes. Those are taxes that are collected, domestically. Now, just does not necessarily to go into the other department, but the officers that are in the depot are under the customs and excise department. They have a line of they have chain of command. The depot is headed by a manager, and then you have senior officers, then other officers. The manager is supposed to report is reporting to the deputy commissioner, and then they also have a commissioner of customs, and then you move forward before you get to the commissioner general. So to answer your question, the depot is managed by a manager, customs manager, who reports directly to the deputy commissioner and then to the commissioner of customs, and finally to the commissioner general.
This kind of reporting is done on, is it weekly or?
No. I'm just telling you the structure of the Department of Customs. The way they work, they don't work on daily basis, report on daily basis, no. It's very structured. The manager that is there has a station, just like we have a station at Amdalai, we have a station at Basse. Each of these stations are managed by, we have at the port or airport. Each of these stations are managed by a manager. They do their work independently, because these are all professionals. Or the only time they get back to the office to report is end of the month. Then the whole said, we collected, this is the volume that's difficult, and then we collected this one 250 million. And when we are putting reports together, we take report from all the provincial stations, all the domestic tax branches, and then we collect everything, and including that of the petroleum. So they bring their reports, all of them bring their report to one report. Because at the end of the day, GRA is one GRA, and we have one target in a month. But these targets, we also subdivide it into different. The depot will have a target, all of these people, branches will have target. So, but at the end of the day, the ministry will give us one target. And that is why here every month we said, this is what we collect against the target that we have. But within that target, we have so many subgroups that will come in. So depot is one. They don't really report to us on a daily basis. No, they have their own structure within the depot, and when they do whatever they do that at the end of the month. They report back to us. Thank you.
Okay, then finally, Commissioner General, besides the report from your officials, the institution that is the depot, is it entitled to make any submission in terms of report to GRA directly?
Reporting in what form? Because we work with them, if there is something that they need from GRA in terms of questions or answers or reports, they are free to do that. Not only the airports, you have other stakeholders there that works with them, including the.
If I may put it this way, you especially rely on the report you get from your officials.
Say that again.
You rely on the report you get from your officials.
Oh yes. We rely on the reports that we receive because we also have the computerized system.
Okay.
So whatever is lifted, they put it in the computer. So even at my office, I can see that. So, but at the end of the day, in a monthly, when the month ends, they summarize and tell everything. But there is this transparency of, whatever they do is computerized.
Okay. You can proceed to the next question.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. So,
Yes.
did you receive any report from FIU during the year ended 2023?
Yes, we do receive a report from FIU with respect to these bills.
Can you take us through the report and what area of interest with GRA having?
When we received the report from FIU, our reaction was that we went through the report and then we shared it with the legal department. Within GRA we have a legal department. We shared the report with them and then we all discussed it together with the head of domestic taxes, who is my deputy. And we realized that it's a bit complex. In terms of international trade, we don't see anything that is going on wrong. Because the report itself indicates who is the trader, and then later on it indicates that there are other two companies that are also registered in the country and they are trying to do business on behalf of the trader. So when we look at it, we just come to a conclusion that the trader will dump the fuel at the airport. The OMCs will buy it from them and the duty will be paid by the OMCs. Now, the issue comes about those other two companies. The issue comes to those other two companies, the Great Energy and Ultimate Page. Those two companies, we've realized that they've registered in the country and they've never come forward to do their tax. Normally, the law is very clear that anybody who does a business activity in the country is obligatory on you, the company or individual, to come forward and register and as well as do your tax file. We realized in this case that was not the case. So immediately when we received it, we also, based on that third-party information, we send an assessment, investigation, and we send an assessment to those two companies. That is the Ultimate Page and the Great Energy. So, because we felt that it's an area that is concerned, that might be a tax issue. We did that to provoke them to make sure that they do their filing. So if you remember my statement, I said, in the Gambia law is self-consistent. It is not GRA who goes on and says, come and pay this millions or billions. No. You, the person doing business, it is obligatory on you to come forward and do your final tax. But we failure of which, if you fail to do that, GRA also, the law has many powers to do a POJ on you. And if we have the third-party information, we can also send you to make sure that that's not reliable. We just send it to you to look at it, to say that, to make you to know that we know that you are existing on this. Now tell us your tax return. File your tax return. So then, when you do that, we look at it, our tax audit will look at it, and the experts that are on the operation. If it goes well with what is expected, it's accepted. If it doesn't well, we can still go for further investigation.
In your response to that, you've indicated two companies, Clean Energy and Ultimate Page Logistics. Let's take them one at a time. Let's take Clean Energy first. What was the area of operations of Clean Energy?
Based on the report, because we have not come across them in our daily work. It was just when we see the FIU report, we realized that these companies are here, they are doing business, selling fuel products to OMCs. And that is all that we know about Creba, that they are involved in business in Gambia. And as far as we are concerned, any company that is involved in economic activity, you are liable to pay your tax. That is to find your tax, so that we know that you are existing and you pay your taxes. So I wouldn't go into details of all the things, because we, as far as the area is concerned, like I said, we don't know much about these companies. We don't know much about them.
Do they make monthly filing of their pay?
Again, I will come back to this same question. It is obligatory on the business to make sure that you do your tax filing. But as far as these two companies are concerned, they are not doing that. And that's why we give them the POJ, the assessment. When we got the third-party information, we quickly look at the report and take that amount of money and then make it forward, put the charges on the donor, because we are not doing that quarterly filing.
What about their monthly sales?
Again, it comes back to the same question, because these two companies were not related to GI at all. They were not related. We don't know anything about their monthly sales. We don't know anything about their monthly sales. No, not at all.
Their VAT?
Registration for VAT, registration for TIN and other tax type, it all happens when a real taxpayer comes forward and wanted to register or file or change, all those things come. As far as these companies are concerned, they are not coming forward. So in this case, they cannot file for VAT.
Where is their VAT?
No, as far as we are concerned, they are not. They are not.
Okay, and clean energy was registered in the year 2021. 2022, they were due to send in their annual returns. Did they do that?
As far as our records are concerned, no. What they could have done at the time is, even if you register and the year end, you can find the new return, because it's not mandatory that you have to pay by because when you don't pay any business activity. So what was expected of them is to file a new return. But in this case, no, they haven't filed anything, as far as our records are concerned.
Did they have a tax identification number?
During the course of our investigation, yes, we realized that they have a TIN number.
So can you take us through the process of getting a tax identification number?
It depends on who wants tax registration number. If it's an individual, most of the requirements is either ID card or passport or birth certificate. Now, if it is a company, the requirement is the company memorandum. They are just reminded me, company memorandum of understanding. That's what it is. So it depends on who wants the TIN number.
Do you have the memorandum article of association for clean energy?
Well, we can check that, because these are done by operational level. So we expect that they should provide that before they get it done. Or we can check that. Yeah.
The committee will be requesting for that.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
In your earlier submission, you did indicate that when you had the intelligence report from FIU, you ordered a best of judgment assessment.
Yes.
Can you take us through that report?
Without even looking at the report, I know that one of them is based on the turnover that we have from that report. We just applied the 2%, right? Because here they have no audited account, where you would have to use the 1% to charge them. So what we did, we just applied the 2% on the turnover, and then depending on the volumes that they have, one of them is about 12.5, the other one was about 8.5 million. Yeah. But this is the best of judgment, as we said. It does not mean that this one is a Bible. that's what they have to pay. We did that because we have no information from them, and they have not come forward to submit. So we did it to provoke them, so that when they receive that, then now they will consult their tax consultant or accountant to do their books for them, and then they will bring that forward.
So that meaning the scope of the best of judgment assessment is limited to the information that was provided by FIU?
Yes, certainly, sure.
Did Jerry see it fitting to expand the scope, given the fact that this company has the biggest debt since 2021 and they have never fulfilled any of their tax obligations?
Well, during our investigations, we also discovered that we have not seen any other activities these companies have done since their registration, apart from what was stated on the FIU report. If there is something, we have not seen that based on our investigation.
Do we know whether they are still existing after the FIU report?
As far as we are concerned, yes, they are still existing. They're still existing, yeah.
And do you believe that the provocation would really compel Clean Energy to come and liberalize their status?
Yes, we believe, because maybe these are the ones on the injection, but we have a lot of time we have that people who do business and they hide under the table. Once we have information, third-party information from anywhere, we use that to use the BOJ to send the assessment to them, and normally that helps, because if they receive that, if they don't reply to us, then we take that to be the tax liability. So we believe that with that assessment we sent to them, that will be provoke them to come forward and give us the right income that they have made in the country, and then the taxes will, their tax experts will help them to work on that.
The turnover of $428,835,803.81 reported for Clean Energy as of November 2023 is based on what proceeds? Which proceeds are those?
Like I said, this is all based on the report that we received from FIU. And we believe that maybe this is the sales of the product that they have at the depot. And if it is the trailer alone, we have no issue with the trailer, because traders are there dumping their fuel at the depot and they leave. But if there is a business in addition to that document, there is a company that is also doing business. We believe that the business transaction that you do, the income that you made out of that, should be subject to taxes. But in this case, they should have come from them. But because we have no information, this is the only information we have. That's why we put at 2% on the volume, that's the turnover that we have. That may not be the profit, as I said, but it's a provocation to them, because the law has given us that power. Where we don't have an information from a businessman, we can use the BOJ.
This tax liability of $8.5 million is, how does it correlate to the tax that is due over lifting fuel at the bonded warehouses?
When the fuels, like I said, the bonded warehouses, everything there is free. And if the fuel that is lifted is consumed in the country, already the taxes are paid, the international traders, the duties. But what now comes to question is the other companies that are here and also doing some trading. They also should have registered and also doing their tax filing. Then we would not have the question of this 8.5. This 8.5 we did because we have no other information as far as their business transaction is concerned. But at the end of the day, the law also has given them a chance to do their taxes. And when they do their taxes, they will send that to us, and then we compare it with what is it. Because this amount is charged on the turnover. That means it is not the profit. It is the total sales or whatever they have that is put under that record. That's what we choose, and then apply the 2%, which the law has allowed us to do.
Yes. You said about the actual clarification I'm looking for. In your earlier submission, you said traders will come at the bonded warehouses either Gam Petroleum or GBS. Okay, and by law, they are not the ones who are supposed to pay the tax.
Yes.
But the OMCs who are lifting.
Yes.
The moment they lift, the GRA staff there would take the records.
Yes.
And on or before the 25th of every month,
Yes.
they will make sure that the tax obligations are fulfilled by those various OMCs. Now, action. How does this 8.5 million correlate to those monthly returns? Is it possible that fuel will be leaving the depot without the knowledge of the GRA?
No, that's not possible.
So what does this...
Every liter that leaves the depot, GRAs have records of it.
So what does this 8.5 represent?
Well, okay, you want to comment? Okay, let me just say this, and then maybe he wants to add something to it. The 8.5 million that we assess, if you follow, I'm saying that the taxes on those things are all paid by OMCs. But because these other two companies, they are registered in the Gambia, and they are also involved somehow in a business transaction. So that is why when we saw it on the FIU's report, we picked it up and charged them 2% because we believe since they are existing in the country, they must have been making business in terms of buying and selling, and they will make income. They will make some kind of income. So that is where we are heading to. The income there, we cannot, for the time being, differentiate how much is the cost and how much profit they make. At this moment, we cannot. But by us giving them this assessment, we believe that will provoke them to come up and tell us, they give us the tax file where we will see the actual tax that they are supposed to pay. It's okay.
Any additional or?
You want to say something? Yeah. Okay.
Let me just add a rejoinder to what the Consul General has already explained. All the assessment that was done was based on the third-party, information we were able to pick from the FIU report. And what is contained in the FIU report, based on these two companies we are talking about, is basically lodgement into accounts that we can identify with these two players. So for us, when it comes to turnover, it's about revenue realized from trading activities. And for a company that is incorporated in the Gambia, you would expect that the proceeds of the business will go to accounts that these companies can be identified with. So that is why, and we could not see any other activity within the economy they have carried out, even though for one of them you could see, their presence in the Gambia way back to 2021. But what we need to understand is that when it comes to these tax activities, if you have not, we have seen instances where a company can be registered. It will take many years before you are fully set up and you start doing trading activities. So what the law requires you to do, once you are within the system, during that time when you have not traded, even though you exist but you have not traded and you have not realized any revenue or any turnover, you should file a nil return at the end of the year, which should happen 3 months after the end of the after the end of the calendar year. So in this particular instance, for one reason or the other, we have missed them in our radar. But as soon as this report came, we took the information that was available and decided, like the CJ has said, to raise the BOJ. So once the BOJ was raised, our legal department, their reps visited our offices, based on the request of the legal department, and they requested to be given time to go and prepare their financial statements and then get back to us with the audited financial statements and also the accompanying returns. So that is what I can explain relating to it. So the relationship is basically relationship of turnover, and you would expect for a company, to really lodge their business proceeds into accounts that they can be identified. For example, if they had claimed that somebody gave me money, I put it there. Nobody would take it because one would expect that for a company that is incorporated is a separate legal entity from even those that do the day-to-day activities of the business. Thank you.
Okay.
So if I get you well, the turnovers in the accounts are classified as revenues that they've generated from other trading activities, and not necessarily the tax that was due.
Exactly.
From the depot.
Exactly. That's correct.
Okay. So before moving on to ultimate wage, does it mean to say that neither ultimate wage nor crude oil were the OMCs who were lifting the fuel from Gam Petroleum?
Yeah, as far as our records are concerned, yes, they were not the ones that are lifting the fuel from the depot.
They were not the ones who were lifting the fuel from the depot?
No. Our understanding is they do the trading with OMCs. They sell the fuel on behalf of the trader to the OMCs, that now it is the responsibilities of the OMCs to pay the duties.
Okay. Now let's look at ultimate wage logistics. Was there anything different in the mode of operandi from Clean Energy with regards to the filing of tax, with regards to their registration? Was there anything specific?
No. Based on our records, no. We consider both of them to be doing similar things. We don't have much records on them prior to this.
Have they ever made any tax filing? Because they were registered on the 31st of May 2023. Have they ever filed any tax?
No, based on our investigation and the tax records, no, they have not.
Do they have a tax identification?
Yes, they do. They do have a tax identification, yes.
So, which means you should have both their article and memorandum of association?
Yes.
So, if we can have that copy together with that of Clean Energy,
we will try to do.
The chair will make those proposals. Hello, Chair. The floor is to you with regards to Clean Energy and Abuja. Clean Energy and ultimate.
Not with ultimate logistics as well.
Yes.
Honorable members, any supplementary takes on? On the blue, we have details, supplementary takes on.
Okay. Yes, Chairman. Okay, thank you. CG.
Yes.
These two companies.
Yes.
If I understand, their registration is they are registered as corporate companies. Meaning they are like taxpayers. If I should understand.
We call it LTS.
Yes. So here in this case, you apply 2%. And then in our laws, the corporate tax is 27%.
Yes.
And then the reason you put forward that, okay, the accounts is not audited, but they are definitely like taxpayers as corporate entities. Did you have access to their account? It's a supplementary. Yes.
One answer by...
Exactly, yeah. So have you...
maybe there's a substantive question that can you wait for that?
Substantive question?
Question for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we wait for that. Yeah.
The Controller General.
Yes.
Is it correct to say that you had acted, that Jerry Passé had acted on the FIU report, and you consider it to be useful?
Yes, because our country's law says that any individual or company that is operating here in the country should have relationship with the tax authority in terms of their finance. The court here is busy doing. I'm sure he's not going to listen. He's not listening to me. Can I go ahead?
No,
it's okay.
I'm also made on that.
Possible, yes, okay, no problem. Well understood, well understood.
So that is why the survey is for.
No problem, further.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Any other supplementary?
Yes. Thank you very much, Chair.
Yes, Gambia?
Yes, I just want to ask, when you receive the report from FIU and you realize it's been their responsibility in terms of coming forward to pay their tax, what was your position in terms of trying to, at least put them?
What we did report, like I said, under the GRA we have various departments. Some cases is an area that relate to domestic taxes. So the head of the domestic tax and the staffs, as well as the legal departments, we also discuss the subject. And the actions that we took was one, because that's the only information available. The legal department did an investigation. After the investigation, we come to the conclusion that we have to do an assessment based on the turnover, and that is where we use the BOJ. And then it was submitted to them, and they asked for time for them to contact their tax consultants to do the proper filing.
So now I just want to understand.
Yes.
Because we are talking about an issue here, but this one is going to, is covers everybody. In case somebody failed to pay his tax, at the end of the day, when you realize it, you just negotiate with the individual and continue, or there is a legal consequences that should be attached to that.
Yes, it's not about negotiation. Maybe we use another better word to say if some things happens and we come across, first what we did, that's what we do, that's by sending you a POJ and we wait for your reaction. But in addition to that, there is penalty and interest. We're waiting for them to resubmit their account, and then we in turn, in response, by the time we go to the conclusion, they will also suffer to pay penalty and interest, because the time they should have paid it, it's late, and as such, they have to face some kind of punishment.
Okay. The last supplementary.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. See, you have made mention, okay, when you received the FIU intelligence report, you yourself you have conducted an investigation of this company. Can you share us with the report?
This was done internally by the domestic tax department and the legal department. They do it jointly to take up a position. So maybe I can ask if there is something written on that. But I know the outcome was what we agreed as management is promptly to send in the assessment. Because when we check around, we don't see any other activity they have done, like involved in another business or something like that. So this is the only thing we have seen, and because there's no other information, we took that and then send them the assessment so that we'll provoke them. But if there is something they have, maybe they can they can say.
That's okay?
It's okay.
So we can. Or Deputy, what did you say something?
No, it's okay.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay.
So we can proceed to the next substantive question.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, before moving to the next question, just want to finish with heat oil and ultimate beach. So that one. From the depot, the GRA staff station there, on periodic basis, they are in a position to establish how much lifted is done.
Yes.
So which means they'll be able to establish the turnover on a monthly basis.
Yes, they do.
And as it is now, we've been able to establish that both heat oil and ultimate page logistics are special purpose vehicles established for the depositing of funds from the sales proceeds of Gam Petroleum. I'm laying this foundation to ask this question, which is to say whether the combined tax liability of 12.2 million and 8.5 million do correlate proportionately.
Maybe if I can take it this way, the fuel that is deposited at the depot, the tax liability in terms of duties that is paid by the OMCs, that one we have to understand. The trader deposits the fuel, and the fuel is lifted out at a periodic time. At the end of the month, whatever is lifted, that is paid by various OMCs within the country. So that has nothing much to do with this 8.5, because this 8.5 is just a figure that we have seen from a secondary or third party, and we picked and then applied the law, which is 2%. So you cannot really relate it strictly. Of course, it's coming from the sale of the fuel, but here the most important thing, as far as we were looking, is whether the OMCs are paying or not. And as far as our records are concerned, any fuel that goes out is paid. Now, beyond that is whether this guy, if it was ordinarily like a trader dump the fuel and then the OMCs buy it from the trader, everything here would have been okay in terms of taxes, because the OMCs normally they pay their taxes and they pay their corporation tax as well. So we wouldn't have. But the reason why these two names feature in, because they decided to be within the Gambia and doing some activity. If not, they would not have been mentioned. If dump fuel and go, but we wouldn't even have mentioned that here.
Maybe I'll put it this way. Those activities are what we are still concerned about. Because if you look at the FIU report, the turnover in the accounts of both Creed and Ultimate Page are coming from the OMCs. They are coming from the OMCs. And that particular report was time-bound. It didn't cover the entire process. That will be reflective of the nature of agreement or relationship between Ultimate Page, Creed Energy, and Abuja. So which means that also puts into question whether the 8.5 and 12.2 represents in totality.
Yes, thank you. I think I know where you're heading to. And we have to remember that volume that is dropped at the depot, the taxes are paid correctly at the level of the end of the month exit. That's the duties. Equally, the same OMCs, they pay their taxes at the end of the year, quarterly and at the end of the year. So it is not about the 8.5 or 12 point something. Right. That's not the only one, because this business is complex. It goes beyond that. We have about 36 or more OMCs, and they all involved in buying and selling. And each of them pay their taxes in terms of when they lift, but at the end of the day, they also pay their income, the incomes that they make. So most of them who bought from them separately, they also pay their income tax.
So right now, we'll be waiting on Ultimate Page and Creed Energy to do a self-assessment.
Exactly.
So in case they never saw, what steps will GRA take?
GRA will still try to follow. In fact, I'm not too sure whether it's good. There was also a follow-up case at the court, eventually we had after this, and GRA also stepped in. We filed to be part of the court, so that in case
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Okay, I saw that. Okay.
What I was trying to prove was to see whether Commissioner General will say if they fail to come in,
yes,
we'll make sure that we go on the spot and do a tax audit and hold them accountable.
Yes, but the taxation is a process. You know, the process goes like this. First, if you keep filing, we accept what you find, but it's not the end. The Commissioner General can also send our tax audits to go and look at your accounts, what you have submitted. In cases where you have not filed at all, until we get information from a third party, the first step is to send you the BOJ, and it's a process. So now, if they insist that they will not coming, and there is an issue, then maybe that step we can go. That is by sending them. But in this case, they agreed that they are going to contract their tax consultant. And since they are business, we don't want to look like a line on them. We just want to make sure that we follow the law so that we will get whatever we need to get. And if possible, they can survive and continue their business. But we will do everything within our means to make sure that the taxpayer is supposed to pay, they pay.
Perfect. Chair, now we'll move into the next question. That is to say, do you have a breakdown of the total number of the exports from January to December of 2023?
You know, I told you, the depot is computerized. If where there is a need for us to have that, yes, we can get it. Of course, they are not the only one that are exporting, but specifically, if this is a requirement or required to get a particular information, this day and age where we have a lot of our system computerized from the Asikoda wall in the single window, we can get it.
The chairman will make a request.
Okay.
To that effect. And the other one will be the total tax revenue collected from the OMCs at the bonded warehouses from January to
January. Yes, we can get you that. We can get you that. It's going to be a huge amount.
2023.
Yes, we can get you that. Maybe that is not only from this, but for everything, from January to date. Yes. Okay, we can get you that, yeah.
Mr. Damo, we need to remember that what the motion,
yes,
the prayer of the motion is that there is an element of tax evasion. So that is what the motion is speculating, is alleging. So the responsibility of this committee is to bring out the truth as it is. Even though you've clearly spelled out the tax requirements, the tax obligations, who is responsible of what. And now we know as a committee that it is the OMCs who are responsible to pay the tax. So now we need that breakdown so that internally you can also fill in so blank spaces.
Madam Chair.
Any questions on this?
Any questions from the floor? No. Chairman, it's just to add on what Honorable Fofana said.
Yes.
The breakdown. I think the vessel we are trying to look at arrived in this country on the 28th April 2023. I think the best information we will need from the tax turnover would be from that month, from April 2023. Because the vessel, according to record, the vessel arrived in the country in April 2023.
Okay. That's okay. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. We, as far as the duties are concerned, whatever is left is paid. What is going for transit is recorded, so we can provide all that for you. So certainly. Yeah.
Okay. So I think the last document I would recommend for submission will be the report on the FIU. That was the investigative report that was done on the FIU. Yes, so. Yes. On the done by GRA. Yes. As a response to the FIU report. So now, do you know any company called Apoje? Apoje?
Yes.
Do you know any company called Apoje?
I heard their name during this investigation and also based on the reports of the FIU. That was the only time I come across their name.
Do you have any record of them at GRA?
As far as I'm concerned, we are concerned, no. If prior to this, no.
They will give you a name. You can check in your system. Is it Apoli Gambia Limited?
Apoli Gambia Limited.
Apoli Limited Gambia.
Apoli Limited Gambia. Maybe we can check, yeah.
Yes, check.
But prior to the FIU report, I can't remember having anything on that, yeah.
Yes, you.
And that is what, is it an OMC or a trader or a middleman or what?
Apoli Limited Gambia, we are registered on the 30th of January 2024.
Oh, wow. It's just recent, yeah.
Part of their submission to the register of companies is their team.
It's okay.
And all that. So I strongly believe you should be in a position to have the article and memorandum of association.
Yes, if they have registered to have a good team number, we'll check for it.
But during the course of this year, have this particular company, Apoli Limited Gambia, make any tax filing with GRA?
No, not our knowledge. No, it's not our knowledge, any filing.
So during your verifications,
yes,
you come across any tax returns?
No.
Please, you will also avail those to.
Yeah, it's okay. No, it's okay. They just did some internal consultation.
That's okay. I just want it here. When you are ready, we can go.
Yeah, it's okay. We are ready.
I mean, during your verification, if at all you come across any information regarding tax returns from Apoli Limited Gambia, from January till date, the committee would like to have that one also. When did you order for the self-assessment of both clean energy and ultimate pH?
I think it was just after we received the report from FIU. Way back last year, late last year, around October or something. That will be October.
This best of judgment assessments, normally, do you have a requirement towards it? Is there any baseline used or standards?
Yes, taxation is a bit complex. Those who write the law knows that it is very difficult for people to pay their taxes. One of the most difficult things in life is to depart with money. And in this case, considering that fact, that's why you have BOJ in our laws. And we apply BOJ where we have no information as far as the tax assessment are concerned from a particular business or individual. And that is that is the time we use the BOJ to provoke the individual or the business to react to that, and then so that we can finalize your tax situation.
Any questions related to this before we move to the final phase?
The floor is open. Yeah, Chairman. CG.
Yes.
It's a follow-up on the registration of Apoli Gambia Limited. On the registration of Apoli Gambia Limited. I believe before a company is registered, GRA must issue a tax, a TIN number to that company. Then I think it will be, then the registration of this company should not be new to the Gambia Revenue Authority, because you already given them a TIN number to register as a company. Then actually you should get their information.
So, can I go?
Yes.
Yes, ordinarily, yes, we should, the information should be there. But the question is whether we know about them. I know about them or the institutions. You have hundreds of businesses that are registered. So normally the expectation is the registrations are done on purposes. Purpose of business, purpose of order, purpose bank opening and other things. So if someone registered and you have no other business activity in terms of tax return, sometimes it's difficult because we have to concentrate on other things, and then if you just ask me someone who is just in January and he hasn't done any filing to us, it may be very difficult for us to just remember it like that because you're talking of volume numbers. So many businesses that we deal with on a daily basis.
Are you going? Yes. You are going. If you are satisfied.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. This will be the final phase.
Okay.
Sir, earlier on, you did indicate that there was a court case. Can you tell us?
Thank you once again. We discussed earlier on about these companies that we mentioned before, Grid Energy, Ultimate Page, and things. We also understand that there is a court case that is going on. We don't know what is it exactly, why they are going to court, and what, because they are the one doing business. It is, we don't know what really happened. But as a revenue authority, because the fact that we got this report from FIA, the moment we heard about this court case, what we did is called a management meeting and said, okay, maybe we should also file and join. So because we believe we can have our tax from by the time the judgment happens, we can also have our tax. And that was the time our legal department took up the matter to the court. Unfortunately, when our filing got to the judge, he threw it out. He said, no, we shouldn't be part of it. We were not happy with it, but this is the judgment. This is the judge is in charge. So he said we cannot be a party to it. But my legal man is here. Maybe he can explain it that situation, what happened at the courtroom better.
Okay. Thank you very much, honorable members. Just to answer the question, to add to what CJ has said, because at the time we filed the notice of motion to join the suit, because we have found out that at that time it was in October, and we had already issued the best of judgment. So we found out that the two companies are wrangling over the funds, and it was our belief that those funds form part of our taxes. So the prudent thing to do was to join the suit to inform the court that those funds may constitute the taxes that are owed to GRA, and as a result, the court should freeze those funds until the tax issues are resolved. But unfortunately, like the CG submitted, the judge was of the view that we were not a proper party to join the suit. And as a result, he refused for us to join the suit, and then he ruled that the funds should go to Abuja. So that is basically the background relating to that suit.
Which two companies? You did indicate that between two companies.
Yeah,
two companies.
Okay.
So basically, it was the case was between Clean Energy and Access Bank and Ultimate Page. Access Bank was because they were the ones holding the fund, and for us also, we believe that under the IBAN Act, we have powers to compel banks to freeze account on behalf of GRA. But what we thought was important was, since they are fighting over these funds, it is now in the knowledge of the court. It was important that we join the suit, and the law allows that a third party that has an interest in a particular subject matter can file a motion to join the suit. And then we were hopeful that when we join the suit, we will make our case, and then the court now will make the proper ruling on the issue.
Did you appeal the decision of the judge?
No, we did not.
Why?
We did not, because at the time that the issue at then was basically the the moving of the funds from one account to another. So we realized that by the time that we file an appeal, and the filing of an appeal will not automatically grant you a stay of execution. So it means that before we filed, the funds would have been transferred to Apoji in Dubai already. So we thought that, but also another reason why we did not file as well, because our opinion was that the taxes that we are owed by Clean Energy and Ultimate Beach, which are companies that are resident in Gambia, and if we cannot get them through the court process, we can also get them through our other administrative processes when we have a TR. So those are basically.
You said part of the reason you didn't appeal was, because of the processes, because funds would have been transferred from one account to the other. Can you add a little bit context on that? Which account in specific? Where are they coming from? Where are they going?
From the information I gathered, because when we filed our motion, it was accompanied with an affidavit, and the other party that opposed our affidavit, they were represented by Ami Ben Sudanko. They filed an affidavit, and basically the guy that was the deponent to the affidavit, I forgot the name, Arismos Stablis. So he was an agent. He was an agent of Apoji Dubai. So basically, the funds were domiciled. So the funds were domiciled in Access Bank and EcoBank. But in this case, the allegations in the affidavit, in the opposition was that the managing director of Clean Energy wanted to tamper with the funds. So therefore, that was why they wanted to move those funds from that particular account. So I don't know whether it was eventually done, but when our process was dismissed by the court, we did not follow further to see if the funds have actually been moved to Apoji, because that was what they were praying in their affidavit in opposition.
So basically, the funds were to move from Clean Energy account into the Apoji account.
Yeah, that was what we were, because also we found out that they created some sub-accounts, and then it was only one person that had the right to withdraw from those accounts, and that's the agent of Apoji Dubai. And that is what actually they were praying in the affidavit. Because Clean Energy had obtained a motion ex parte from the court, you understand? But later, because it was obtained ex parte, the court asked them to come on notice. So when they came on notice, that was the time that we joined. But the court ruled that the funds there should be in the exclusive possession of Apoji. That was actually what the court ruled.
Okay, let's take this. Sorry, I will still wait him for 3 more questions. You take it stage by stage. You said you realized that they've opened sub-accounts. Who was banking with who? Who was banking with EcoBank and who was banking with Access?
Okay, according to the report we have from the FIU, Clean Energy was banking with Access Bank.
Clean Energy.
Yes, and Ultimate Beach was banking with EcoBank. And in fact, Ultimate Beach account was opened after the company was incorporated. They passed a board resolution, and the board resolution was what allowed them to open the account, and also another board resolution was also passed for them to for this guy to be given as sole signatory when the sub-accounts were opened.
So the sub-accounts, whose name were they opened?
The sub-accounts, they were in the name of Clean Energy and Ultimate Beach. They are referred to sub because they were under their own main account. Only one person was designated as the sole person to withdraw from the account.
So it means in Access Bank, it was Clean Energy and Apoji. Yes. And in EcoBank, it was Clean Energy and Ultimate Beach.
In fact, that was the nomenclature of the two sub-accounts.
For the purpose of clarity, the turnovers that are reported in the tax declaration, are they from those sub-accounts?
Yes, because when we got the report, I think we reported the report in October, but the FIU report, the lodgement in those accounts was as of August of 2023.
But it's from the sub account, right?
It's from the sub account.
They are from the sub account. And meaning, from a tax point of view, the ownership of the account at Access Bank lies with Clearbank, and the ownership of the account in Eco Bank lies with Ultimate DS.
Can I come inside?
No, I'll just,
okay.
No, this point is very, very important. You know, we want to see the tax element and how we can correlate it. Or AD will take that later, but you answered this last question. You said both accounts had one signatory. Who was the signatory?
His name Arismos Stabilis or something. I'm not sure about the name, but it's Arimos. He was also the deponent to the affidavit in opposition.
He was there?
He was the deponent in the affidavit in opposition, opposing our joining of the suit.
And in whose interest was that?
It was in the interest of Apoji MCMC.
And who was representing Apoji? Who was their legal representative?
It was Annie Bensouda and Co.
In the best of your knowledge, has the judgment been passed in respect to that case?
A judgment, I'm not sure, but a ruling. Because if you look at what I know you have lawyers in your midst. So basically, the case was not started as a substantial suit. So basically, it was started by the motion ex parte, which Clean Energy obtained, but later, because it was obtained ex parte, the court asked them to come on notice. So it was a ruling that was made, but it was not as if they were suing each other on the facts, but rather it was basically on the funds in the account.
Thank you very much. See there, then we go back to the sub-accounts.
Yes.
Based on the assessment, that was the best of judgment assessment.
Yes, BOJ.
Where did you extract the turnovers from? Is it from the sub-accounts?
I thought I had clarified this adequately in my intervention. All I said was everything that informed that assessment is based on the information we took from that report. And the reason being, we have not established this, there are two ways to establish an assessment. Everything that we do on turnover, that is just not showing the final liability at the end. Final liability depends on when they file 3 months after the end of the year. By that time, they would have reported their turnover. They would have also reported all deductibles that are allowed by the law in terms of expenses that can be supported by the law. If, on the basis of that, a profit emerges, then you have 2 rates that come into play. The rate on the profit will come 27%, and the rate that comes on the turnover will be either 1% or 2%, depending on whether audited accounts or accounts which are not audited are submitted. Now is the higher of the two, which becomes the liability of the taxpayer. So in this particular case, because we have no received return, so therefore the only thing we can do is the tax that we can assess on turnover, which will be credited against the tax on the profit when the final assessment is done. So everything has been informed by the lodgements in those accounts, which we can identify with CRIT or ultimate base, because the assumption is that the process of business should be lodged in the accounts that are identifiable to those businesses. That has been the assumption that we had. But like I have said, they also have rights under the law to file returns which reflect their own self-assessment, failing which then the BOJ would stand. But BOJ, as the name implies, is not 100% accurate. Is based on the information that is available to the assessors. It can be complete, it can be incomplete. So, so that's how, I want to explain this. So let BOJ not be taken as, because it is best of judgment. So best of judgment is not an accurate assessment of what the taxpayer is liable to pay.
Yes. Sorry, I think I will clarify the question again, because that explanation was well taken and really understood. This one, the substance behind it is to establish the ownership of those funds. In his submission, he said two things. One, the accounts were of Creed and Access Bank. But the sub-accounts, the sole signatory was assigned. That's all. Who was serving the interests of another party. So, but from a tax point of view, we wanted to know as a committee, where did you place the ownership of those amounts? That was the substance behind the question. Maybe you can.
Okay, thank you. I think you have brought more clarity to this.
Yeah.
A lot of what we did was also based on our reading of the reports and our understanding of what has transpired. If you look at the FIU report, it's so detailed in terms of doing a chronological capturing of many things that have happened between all these parties that we are talking about. But our understanding when we looked at the report was that these two companies, Creed and this Ultimate Page, what we could understand from the role they had played was that they were not the owners of the products. They were more or less doing some kind of marketing activities in the country in terms of bringing the supplier to potential buyers, in the country. That was our reading, and that is why even when we did those assessments, we are not taking them as conclusive, because we now want them now to submit their own returns to show a reflection, to give a true reflection of what they can take on, because GRA has no powers to attribute ownership of funds without us having, clear proof. So that is why we are taking the angle of, because from our reading of the report, nothing was clear that they ultimately own the proceeds that we are in the account. The other understanding was that they were there, but at the end of the day, those amounts were just in transit. They would finally end up, with the supplier that owned the product and send the product, to Gambia. So that's our understanding up to the time that we had raised the BOJ assessment.
Thank you. CJ?
Yes. No, as far as this is concerned, I think I rest my case there, unless you have another question.
Thank you. In that case, Chair, the floor is back to you. That was it for the questions.
The questions are finished?
No. Supplementary.
Supplementary question. Anybody with a supplementary question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. I just want to ask, what motivated Yari to be part of that case? And what was your expectation in terms of your tax?
Thank you very much, Honorable. What motivated us was that there is an issue on the table, and that is here exists two businesses, and they have never come forward to do their tax filing, and consequently, another body somewhere capture what they were doing, and at the end share that information, which we get in most cases. This is not the first time. We normally have information from third party, from other people about other businesses. So in this case, when we send them the assessment, and we heard that there is a case going on, and this we know that they all have international affiliation, either from Ghana or Dubai or somewhere else. So we thought it is also prudent for us to join the case, so that at the end of the day, our interests will also be protected. Unfortunately, they send us away. But our expectation was we would stay, so that at the end of the day, We are not saying we own that money, all the money. No. We only want to have our tax because a tax collector is after only the tax, not the turnover or the whole money. But to answer your questions, we are trying to safeguard our money, and we thought the court can help us to get that. That was what motivated us.
Thank you. Sidi.
Yes.
After the MOJ assessment,
It's BOJ assessment.
After the BOJ assessment, do you have any time frame for the OMCs to find in their turnover? And if they default, what step do you do?
Well, these particular two companies, they are not considered as OMC.
Okay.
Because the OMCs, normally they play a different role. These ones, you call them maybe agents or other type of business, whatever they call themselves. We are still working with them because my legal department is working with them, and when the assessments was sent to them, they said we should give them time for them to contact their tax consultant to give us their own tax assessment, because we believe that at the end of the day, the figure is going to be different from this, because this is the turnover. We just take 2%, and there is no deduction, there is no tax audit or something. So we believe that they will come over. But where a situation arises, they don't, come. We can do other things, if they have business interests here that we know. We can also use the courts on our own this time, not to join the party. And when we go to court with them, in case we have judgment, we can annex, garnish. We can garnish their accounts, which we do in many cases. If we have the ruling, we can garnish their accounts. They won't have access to any of, be it this account or any other account they have in the Gambia. And the other thing is, should they have other business interests in the Gambia, we can also lock them up in our system, because now we know their name. The Asikuda system, we can lock them so they won't have access to any business in the Gambia. So sometimes it's very difficult to run away from a tax man, especially when there's something in question. Very difficult. Because we will look at all the other areas to block you.
See, how about in a situation whereby they totally change their name and come with a new name, only to beat your strategy of blocking them?
Yeah, that's a possibility, because in life you can't say something is impossible, especially when it comes to taxation. People will try everything humanly possible how to beat the system. So as we are trying to build our systems to block leakages, and people are also trying their best, in terms of thinking how to beat the system. So this is the process. That's the process that goes. So your thinking might be right when they know that GRA is haunting us in all ways. Because naturally, if they don't pay their tax, we block them by the devil. They will not have chance to do any business as far as GRA is concerned. And we will block them, we will take them to court for possible garnishing. We will block them in our system, but they can change their name. But in that case, if we discover that they are the same people, then we have to go after them.
Sidi, by looking at the FIU report, which suggests a need for you to investigate into the matter, which you have done. I just want to inquire whether you have reported to all the relevant authorities concerning the allegations embedded in the report, more especially when it comes to bribery and corruption, tax evasion and issue of compliance. Have you reported to all the relevant authorities?
No, I don't think that's part of our responsibility to report to all the other agencies. Well, the way we see this is like a normal trend that goes on, because you have so many businesses that are going into in the country, and as such, GRA cannot be running after every business. So the law is stated very clear that anybody, individual or company that is doing an economic activity in the country should submit their tax file to GRA. But failure of which, if GRA have information about you, then we will come up with the BOJ. So this case is one of the cases that we follow on daily basis. So I don't think it is obligatory to us to report back to. And when you talk about bribery, corruption, and I don't think that is part of our role or function. When we can look at this, when we look at this thing, part of the statement that I said, we said as far as the international tax, the duties are concerned, we believe everything has been paid. The only area that we had little doubt is those agents that we are also trading in terms of selling, whether the income that they make, because I'm sure they make a little income. It may not be much, it may be much, but why didn't they fight and pay their tax on that? If those two companies had paid the income that they make, we would have said that everything is perfect as far as the business is concerned. But here we have a situation where one side of their business, GRA can authoritatively say that the oil that is bought by the OMCs is all paid. But the other agents that come in between, they fail to file their tax. Now we have to follow them so that whatever obligation they have to pay.
Thank you, Shiji. Any other? Well, before I come, any other supplementary question? Go ahead, huh?
Yes, Shiji.
Yes.
I will send you this bill of lading. It's not your document, maybe the Deputy CJ, who is the Director of Tax, can help us.
Domestic taxes, yeah.
Take it, sit down. The international traders, do you know what's said in the bill of lading through GRA?
I think earlier the CG explained that we have two parallel operations in GRA. Anything relating to bill of lading or a consignment that emanates from outside, all that fits within the operations of the Customs Department.
Yes.
So these are not documents for submission when it comes to dealing with the internal tax or domestic tax, assessments. They are only relevant when it comes to, those that are making the declarations to provide supporting documents for the declarations that they are making to GRA.
Okay. The main reason behind sending you that bill of lading is for you to take us through it.
Yes.
One, the SIPA,
yes,
the consignee, and the individual is being addressed to
Let me help you. Yes. Sir, can you say your case?
Can they understand that?
Yes.
Bill of lading.
Yes.
What does those different classifications or descriptions mean? When we say the SIPA, what does it mean? Like in the one you are having?
Okay, let's consider the bill of lading.
Yes.
Basically, what the bill of lading reads, it's a shipping document that will have the name of the supplier, and also it will have the name of the recipient. That's the important. And it will also describe the commodity, the consignment in it. And this comes in different forms. You have the original bill of lading and you have copies. And the shipping agencies that are on the ground will request you to have the original bill of lading, without which they wouldn't give you the release. And whatever you have on the bill of lading, this is exactly what you will have on the manifest of the ship. As you know, before any ships comes in or they service in, every shipment that comes in here will have a manifest. And that manifest most of the time is sent electronically to our system. So then when you go to our system, you do your declaration, you see exactly what the manifest reads, and it has to correspond with what the bill of lading reads. Yeah.
So can we contextualize that to that particular bill of lading? Like, who is the supplier there?
Okay, you want me to read that?
Yes.
Here the name of the said consignee, And the SIPA is the Apogee FCJ.
Apogee would be equated to?
Here it may be considered as the ones that supply the goods.
Okay.
It comes to ultimate bench logistics, and they have Colony Senegal and Crossbreed, notified address Crossbreed. They have two companies here. The first one is Ultimate Bench, and then there's Colony Senegal, I think that's just the address.
Yeah.
The other one is Crossbreed, Crossbreed Holding Company Limited,
And those two would be?
Those two will be the consignees.
Like the customers?
Yes.
Indicating ownership of the product?
Well,
as per the bill of lading?
Yes, as per the bill of lading, yes. As per the bill of lading. Once they settle whatever is between them and the supplier. Yeah.
And the last one is the product. But I
the
think
last one is the product,
the bone of contention have been taken care of. Those are the two that we are looking for. Chair, thank you very much.
Supplementary question? So that substantive question? Supplementary. Okay, in the absence of no further supplementary presentation, can we proceed? You are done? On Kofana?
Yes.
The questions?
No, they are exhausted.
They are exhausted.
They are exhausted. Thank you.
Honorable members, we have exhausted the
So, on the bill of
can you use the mic?
On the bill of lading, there in that address, Ultimate Bench UBS is Tema Ghana.
So you mean the address is the Ultimate Bench Street, Tema? Yeah, that's it. Could be. Is the bill of lading is leading this, but in CP, they can do amendment. They can originally the supplier may intend to have this thing in Tema in Ghana, but before the shipment arrive, there could be a change of mind and they can do amendment, and this is something acceptable in civil. Yes.
Yes, I was just saying, even though the corrections are existed, but in conclusion, we can ask the CJ if he should have any general advice to the committee.
Before that, can you remind him the list of documents that we have requested that you submit?
In fact, I was making those submissions to you to make a formal request.
I stepped out, so that's why I
Yes, take it.
They are doing on the right.
Yeah.
So, CJ?
Yes. Thank you very much once again for giving me the floor. Maybe what I want to say here, that we are very pleased that you call us to come and do a clarification in a matter that is in front of you, because we all have our specialties. So those that are in the tax area, if we were not here, you might get certain things that are happening when in actual fact it's not the case. So I want to salute you for calling the different institutions to come and do a clarification in matters like this, so that when you are making judgments or you're making decisions, your decisions will be done fairly and in a justifiable manner. So as far as GRA is concerned, we are always a partner in development, and anytime for that matter, when you need us to clarify certain situations where something that has to do with our work, we will be more than willing to do it. I know that today gave us 2 o'clock. That coincides with your lunch time. So we have to spend 2 hours to wait for you. That's the only thing I have to say. But I'm sure next time you consider your lunch times, and then you can give us a time when we come. You just come straight and attend this session. But I am very pleased with the questions. We are very pleased, and I think we have answered the question to the best of our ability. There is nothing that we hide or do something that is, as far as the questions are concerned, very transparent, and our answers as well are transparent. We are very pleased, and like I said, we are always willing to come to the house whenever the need arises. And as you said, you need certain documents from us. When we go back, the respective departments will work on that, and they'll make sure that what is available, we will provide that for you as soon as possible. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for the time and the questions and the way and the manner we are received in the house here. Thank you, and thank you very much once again. Thank you. Thank you.
CG, I think we have a timeline. We want to give you time frame for the submission of documents.
No problem.
And we will propose by next week. Today is what?
Today is
Thursday. Is it okay for you Thursday by today's week?
Even today, Ali, is that okay?
okay. 1 week, yeah.
1 week?
Yeah, week today, week.
Next week Thursday, that is only 29.
Yes, we'll try to do so. Okay.
Gentlemen?
Yes. I just want to, what advice do you have to a committee as far as this inquiry is concerned? Moving forward.
The advice that I have for the committee, I think it was a concern that was raised, I don't know, by the FIU, and it came to you, and you have just taken a decision on your own unilaterally, and which I feel you have not done. I mean, if you had done it that way, you might be missing a lot of points. But by setting up a committee, inviting subject matter specialists from our brothers at the audit side and other experts, you try to call the various institutions that have stake in it and listen to them, pose questions on them. At the end of the day, you will see the truth, and then it will inform you better to make a decision. Because if you don't do that, that will mean that you take a decision, and that may not be the best decision. I think the proceedings of the National Assembly need to be saluted. And it's not like a dictatorship situation where something comes and then you make a decision straight away. But this approach is good. I would advise you to continue doing that, because issues will come. This is not going to be the last. There are more issues that will come to you, and then the general public will expect you to do justice. And how do you do the justice? By giving people the opportunity, those that are concerned, to come in front of you, you ask them questions, go through it, and then at the end of the day, you have your report, and then make something, decision out of that. In that case, you will not make mistake. So this is among, the procedure that you take, I salute it, it's good, but I would want to advise you to continue doing the same thing. Because sometimes these things are complex, especially when it involves so many things that you mentioned here. Tax evasion, bribery, corruption, blah, blah, blah. So you really need to invite everybody that is like you are doing. So they come, you listen to them, ask them your questions, put everything together. Finally, the decision is yours. You can make, and I'm sure when you invite everybody like you did it to us, you ask us, we tell you the area that concerns us. Because it's a very complex area. This trading is very complex. But we cannot talk something that we don't even know, and we are not too sure. If we do that here, we try to pretend, you just try to say something that is not clear to us. If you look at our answers and the procedure, we try to concentrate on the area that concerns us, that's the tax. It has been made very clear. The area that is completely exhausted, that is the international trade side. The area we have a little bit of doubt is the area that somebody make an income and then he did not pay his right tax, which is very clear to you as well as us. And if you call another institutions, you do the same thing. By the time this commission, whether you call it commission or inquiry ends, I am sure you will get the truth, nothing but the truth at the end of the day. So I want to advise that the steps that you are taking is the right step, so that you just make people comfortable, you know. And it's interesting, when you are in the hot care, it's something interesting, you know. When you call people, the output matters a lot. So you make them feel comfortable, so you can get a lot from them. If somebody comes and the person is not comfortable, he has some fear in him or is afraid, you may not get the best out of the person. But I think the two co-cares are a bit relaxed, you know, the way they approach opening everything, introduction, which is very good. It makes the person who sits in the hot care a bit relaxed, and then you get the best. And also, I salute the idea that instead of everybody asking questions, that can also confuse the person you are asking. You arrange it such a way that an individual, one honorable, asks the question and the others do the follow-up. That's also a very good procedure, because now at least the person you are asking will now be concentrating on that person who is asking the question. So you can all get the best out of the person, rather than question coming raining from left, right, center. Then the person that in the hot care feel confused, and you may be missing a lot of things. So I think it was a good methodology. I would encourage you to continue doing it. Yeah, you're doing a good job. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that impressive concluding remarks. Once more, we thank you for responding to the invitation and for diligently responding to the questions. The introduction that we made, of course, was necessitated by certain factors, and we realized it has paid dividend. And we commend you for the service that your institution is doing for the country, and for seeing this inquiry as a very important venture. On that note, honorable members, that ends our engagement with the GRA for today. If need be, Commissioner General, maybe you need to be invited, but for now, we are closing the chapter. Do you have anything to say, other members? No? Please, again, but not with GRA. Not with GRA. Commissioner General, I want to remind you, among the documents represented, the tax file is inclusive. Tax file, yeah. For the companies. For the companies. Yes. The three companies are Creed, Ultimate, and the is it the crossbreed? You want to say something?
No, I want to confirm. Okay. Creed Oil, Crossbreed, Apodi, and Ultimate, they have not been any tax grant. So what we asked for was to have the tax returns for the OMCs from January to December of 2023. That was one. And two, if at all they have anything with the Gambia Limited, you know, that will be true. And the articles and memorandum of association of Ultimate Gauge, Clean Energy, as well as Apodi. You know.
The legal still insists whether there is any tax file for these three institutions. No.
Chair, that question was asked during the proceedings. And they said no. No, sir.
He wants to know, so that's why I put him. So it's okay. Then in the absence of no other issue, honorable members, can somebody move so that we can release GRA. Or we allow GRA to go there, we proceed. There are two items on the agenda. GRA. So at this juncture, we are good to go. We are also going to have
They said they were surviving.
Honorable members, we are running out of time very quickly. The next item, that is our meeting.